What's up? Just 3 for GP in the house. So anyway, I just got finished watching this video. Wow, I do not know the name of it, but I'll put it on the in descriptions. Anyway, it was made last month, this year, and it's about, I guess, black men going to Brazil, and things like that, right? And it was a very interesting, how can I say, video. And it talks about a lot of things that I talked about pretty much scattered throughout my videos. So one of my subscribers asked me to watch the video, and so I watched this 47 minutes long. I'll put it in the descriptions and stuff. It's a good video. It was at the end of the video, it was really interesting because one of the ladies speaking of Brazil, she said that when she meets the Brazilian men, the American men, that they treat them better, or treat her and her friends better than the Brazilian men. And then of course, you got American women or black women, they're probably saying how other guys are treating them better than black men. We've heard that, can't find a good black man and all this stuff, right? And I mentioned in one of my videos how it's like that. A lot of guys are going to other countries and they're able to pick up other women or get other women or even marry them or whatever. But, what they're not really focusing on is, why is this beautiful woman that you met in another country was single? If she's beautiful and the most perfect woman in the world and you married her, but you married her in another country that you had to go to, then you still have to ask the fact is, why was she single? Why didn't any other man in that country pick her up? Marry her, And then at the same time, the guys that come to America, that's marrying black women, white men and Asian men, Latina men, and they meet this black woman and say, hey, wow, I found this diamond and she's so beautiful, I'm so lucky, but if she's all that good, then why is it that no other black man in the United States didn't marry her? And you have to think about these things, because it's really important. And I don't even want to talk about the romance thing. It's a social thing that's going on in these countries, and basically what it is you can say it's a lot of things. Of course, it might be destruction of the family, but if she gets married and have kids, then it's not the family. But it's not the family. I think it's more or less a destruction of the culture and stuff and things like that that's going on. But basically what's going on is there is a problem that's happening in each of our countries, cities, communities, homes, that no one is really addressing. And that's the biggest problem. Why is it that for me, in my situation, I came to Japan because I was married, and how was it that I ended up marrying a Japanese woman in the first place? It wasn't that I wanted to, it was just, she was just nice, and she, I asked her if she wanted to get married, because she was going to go back to Japan. And she was, buying me all this stuff. I was like, huh? I told her I need it, but I come visit. I got this, a shirt and stuff. So, of course, I'm kind of thinking too much. So I'm thinking like, oh, well, okay, she bought me a shirt, so okay, I'll marry her. And that's how I was thinking. But then, of course, I was thinking that she would be more mature and say no, and she did say no. And then she went to Japan. Came back a few months later and said she wanted to marry me, and then that's when she told me she was married and she divorced her husband. But her husband, who was Canadian white guy, he ended up falling in love with a Filipino woman, and so when they got divorced, he married the Filipino woman, and me and her married, and then I came to Japan. So my whole thing about coming to Japan had nothing to do with sex or trying to teach English or anything. I was totally ignorant of Japan. I didn't know anything about Japan. Only thing I knew about Japan was when I was working in this one restaurant, and this one Japanese girl was working there, but she's American Japanese, and she was speaking Japanese. So I took a little interest in it, and I just asked her about the vowels. She said Japanese is real easy, just I, A, E, O, U. The vowel sounds, they never change, and that's it. and you'll pick from there. You can pick it up, and she was right. But the whole thing is, what's going on? What is this? It's this destruction of culture, that's really going on, and a lot of people don't see it. And then at the end of the video also, everyone came down to the basic point and said, hey, it doesn't matter if you're making $75,000 and your husband's making $25,000. You got somewhere to raise them. You got a man in the house to help you raise the kids. He might not be making all this money, but he's there. How much would you put what price tag would you put on a marriage? What price tag would you put on a father? What price tag would you put on your children? Those things are worth billions, billions, So it was a really interesting video. Then it also talks about how the brothers, they go down to Brazil and they get treated real nice by the women down there and things like that. And that's real cool too. But, there's another side that people don't really focus on. And that's, what is it? It's the, it's the after you got broken in period. In other words, I call it after you're sitting in a house and you're not talking for 2 minutes and you start to get bored. Then what happens? And that's the part of the relationship that a lot of people don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. And that's what a lot of people really need to talk about because that is really, really, really important. I mean, what kind of car was that? It was a different car. Anyway, that's really important because when you're with your woman, you will get bored, and that boredom is that untreaded land or territory that you both need to get out there and fill it up with something, and like this one lady was saying, well, I want a guy who has the same education as I am. I got a bachelor's degree. I'm going for a master's degree. At least he has to have a bachelor's degree. But if you're not a doctor and you're not performing anything, or if you're not one of these professionals who needs on-the-job training to do a skill or perform whatever, like a engineer making a design. Well, not an engineer design, because anybody can draw, right? If you know everything. But I'm saying someone actually pouring in the liquid for the steel and doing that. And those jobs are, you take things, but those jobs anybody probably could do them. So I guess it's the planning and the drafting and the technical whatever applications and stuff behind that, where those people have to go in and learn the math and the sciences and and biologies or whatever to do those. And people put a lot of price in that, but if you really think about it, those things you can learn in books, because they're in books. All it is just math. It's not that difficult. The science is just about memorizing things. How well do you memorize things? How well do you think of keywords that might trigger a memory and things like that? Because they got these studies on even going to school and studying, how can a person study better and things like that, and it's really important, those things. So when a young woman said that, I kind of laughed a little bit, because it's kind of funny. If you got a master's degree, you meet a black man who don't have a master's degree, well, why don't you teach him what you know? Teach him what you know. And if you don't want to learn, then you should have known that before you got married, And the guy, if you meet a woman who's making more and she's trying to be a boss, well, it's not like you didn't see it coming in the first place. She was boss. She was probably like that, when you got married. Before you got married, when you were dating, something at one point is going to slip and come out. And at one time when it slips and come out, you can say, hey, this, I don't want to deal with it. Because when you get married, and when that boredom comes, all that other stuff that people holding back and trying to be nice and stuff, it's going to slip and come out because of the stress that accompanies boredom is bad. I want to say MF, but it's terrible. You know, and a lot of people just don't know how to deal with those things. So I'm watching the video, and another thing he said was like, well, you know, they're going down there getting cheap sex, right? This one lady said that, you know, they're going to Brazil and for the sex and stuff. Well, one thing I made a video about the what is it called, the natural attraction of black or something like that. I forget it. But basically, what I was saying was, as a black man or any man who has dark skin, and the darker it is, the more it's going to happen, is that you are going to get attention. Men are going to look at you. They gotta look at you. The hypnotism of black is called. The women are going to look at you. Kids are going to look at you, because when they see that darkness, it's like God is going to pull you in, and it's very hard not to look. I mean, you walk down the street, next time you see a person that's dark, you look and watch. Just kind of understand. Watch what you do. You're going to look, and then when you try to look away, your body, your whole sense is going to want to look at it. You know, but you got to like pull yourself away. You know, I mean, it's like you have to take your hand and actually move your head or cover your eyes just to break that spell. You know, and that's just a natural thing. And I was just saying that to the brothers, because I'm not really referring to them. Because I would like to bring it up for the women too, but I don't want to put my place in the women's place, and women's shoes, and say something about it and be wrong, and then get all these comments and stuff. So I'm just talking about the black man. But for as a black man though, and of course, you know, a black woman's going to, the same thing's going to happen to her. People are going to look. That's why you come to Japan and you're black. People are going to look at you. It's not because you're a black woman. It's because your blackness of your skin is God. It's that powerful. It demands respect. It demands people to look at it. And that's all it is. It's your body calling. You know, saying that color is saying, hey, I'm here. Look at me. Bow down. Look at me. You know, but you know, with the people who don't understand nature, they're like, oh, well, they're staring at me and this. And nobody cares about you. They got their own things to do, you know. But that blackness, that darkness is MF too. You know how we used to say it back in the old days. You know, it's going to grab you, you know. So when the woman said that it was cheap sex, you know, I'm thinking to myself, what is cheap sex and what is expensive sex? So basically, you go to Brazil and you meet a woman, and they call them, you know, she was like, I'm not sure if she said that, but you know, I'm trying to say, I think that's what she called them. And but you know, just because they're doing that, you don't know if they're living a double life or what kind of education they have or anything. Now, we can all speculate and say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, a lot of the women, when they were young and before they got those bachelor's degrees, when they were growing up in the neighborhoods, you know, if you were out there having sex and you are not a virgin when you got married, then the Bible, if you're Christian anyway, is going to call you the same thing that lady was referring to the women down in Brazil. And it don't matter. Just because you get an education or whatever doesn't change the fact that you were once that. You know, now maybe you're getting older and you and because you're not understanding what's going on, you're putting all these stipulations in front of you and these rules and stuff, and you're not doing it anymore because it's not because you don't want to. In some cases, it's just because you got so much that a guy has to go through to get it, and a lot of people don't want to do that. I mean, why wouldn't a man want to go to another country and sleep with another woman without any problems, without any hassles, and not pay anything? You know, I have sex. When I had sex, I don't pay for sex. I've never ever pay for sex. Okay, I never ever. Women come and they just toss it to me, and then I'm the one that'll say yes or no. And then some of them might, you know, they're like, why? Or, you know, I'm like, well, because I really don't care about sex. You know, and that's one thing I love about myself is that I won't ever, ever, ever fall in love with a woman because of her sex. I will never do that, because that's just not the way my mama brought me up to be. Okay? And it never happened. I got married 3 times, got divorced twice. I did not ever marry for love. And neither did any of my wives marry me for love. Period. You know what I mean? My second one probably loved me. But I know it wasn't me that she loved. It was the attention that she was getting that she loved. But basically, I'm talking too much. But basically what I'm saying is, when she said cheap sex, it really struck me. And I'm like, okay, well, if somebody wants to have sex with that person, or a woman who despises other women because of cheap sex, then what's the price tag of having sex? Because if you're going to put a price on sex, then you're going to be called a prostitute or a whore, whatever it is it's called in the Bible and stuff like that, whatever religions. What's the difference? Just because somebody might seem like they don't have an education, which a lot of these Latin countries and stuff, a lot of these women are, I'm not saying they all are, but a lot of these women are educated. And I mean some out here in Japan, and every last one of them have to have a bachelor's degree or master's degree or something to get these JET programs. I mean, a lot of beautiful women from Brazil out here, a lot of them from Dominican Republic and those islands and stuff down south, fine. And hey, I love black women in America, but those black women look just like you. They don't look any different. Just the same. The eyes, the nose, the body, everything is the same, except for one difference that I hear other men are complaining about. Because I haven't had problems with black women, in the States. And the thing is that they are very, very nice. It was this one black woman I met through one of my friend Martin. She was from, I don't know where she was from, but I think maybe she was from Trinidad, but I'm not sure. And I saw her in Namba Parks, and I was with my brother and another friend, and Martin was there, and he was with her, and she had another friend, and she was so stunningly beautiful. And in the States, when I saw beautiful women, black women anyway, I always went and spoke to them. Always. They were like 10s. I always went and spoke to them. If the conversation lasts 5 minutes, hey, that's cool. That was a 5-minute conversation I had with a beautiful black woman, and I enjoyed myself, and that's all I expect. I wasn't expecting, I'm not going to ask them to marry me, not date me. I wasn't looking for that, just conversation, and that was very special for me. So I saw her. And then I started thinking about, well, maybe she won't talk to me, and but then I already know that that's just me hating myself, hating myself. So I spoke to a woman with them, nice, very receptive as far as, the communication and stuff. Very nice. We traded emails. We went out with I think we went out with her and her friends and stuff. And then she asked me to go take her home. I took her home, and I ended up staying over. And I think she made a pass at me. And the pass was, wow, I bet you're strong. Right? But me, I'm not thinking about sex. So I'm like, what does she mean I'm strong? And I swear, I was like, huh? What is she talking about? I'm strong. I got muscles, huh? Sex never even entered my mind. And what made it so bad was she had just got out of the shower. All she was wrapped in was a towel. And she had these big, super duper nice mammary glands and a body. She wasn't fat. She had a body, front and back. Oh my God. I was like, wow. And she was fine. I ain't lying. She was like a 20, 100, 1,000, $1 billion. A lot of brothers that would have saw her would have been trying to stab you in the back over her, because that's how fine she was. Let's see, where am I at? Well, I'm gonna be a little late. Anyway, she was just that fine. And she made a pass. And, I'm not thinking about sex. I don't think about it, But the whole thing is like, you see my Do You Love Black Men videos. I love talking to beautiful women. I love talking to women. That's a passion for me, talking to women. I love it. But sex with them? For what? You know, I mean, I can understand it feels good and and all that, but when I think about, okay, it's good, okay, I get rid of stress, and okay, I might be able to ejaculate, okay, I get to kiss her and touch her and all this stuff for however many minutes, but I mean, you can't sit there talking about, one night saying, oh, I love you and all that stuff, and once it finishes, it's like, okay, fine, you more, and like for me, I'm not saying I don't do it or anything, or I haven't done it or anything, but it really, a woman got to catch me off guard, basically, or I'll do it just to prove a point to my friends. But the whole thing is I don't have to go and smack down a woman who is not looking at me, or an unexpected woman. I don't have to go to them because I know there's a lot of women always looking. So I'll just pick one of the ones that find out of the ones that's looking at me, just pick the finest one and say, come on, let's go. She's like, well, do what? I said, you know what you want to do. Okay, let's go. And that's it. So I already know this stuff. But when she said that, cheap sex, I'm thinking like, wow, what kind of price tag is she putting for someone to have sex with her? Because just because of a man go out and have sex with another woman, that means that woman want to have sex with him. Now, whatever their reasons are, sure, you can judge those. And he might do it because he's just a man, and she might do it because she's a woman, or she might be attracted to it. Because I tell you what, a lot of guys, these guys out here in Japan, many guys think these women in Japan are so easy. Yes, they are easy. They are easy. But what do I mean by the word easy? What I mean by they're easy is it's easy for me, and I'm not saying I don't get turned on, because I do, but it's easy for me because I know the social norms and the social etiquette, or whatever it's called, and all of that stuff in Japan when you want to talk to a woman. So I don't have to walk up to him and go, yo, baby, what's up? And what's your name? And where you from? And blah, 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 blah. I can just walk up, like I said, put my hand out and say, hey, let's go. And they understand, hey, let's go. And if she want to go, she'll put her hand in and I'm gone. And we'll do whatever, And it's just that's easy. I mean, is it difficult? You might as well, she a whore. Well, I'm thinking, a lot of these Japanese women out here got BA degrees, master's degrees and stuff. These women are not dumb. They might look like kids. They take off their makeup and they will look 15, 20 years younger than what they do with their makeup on. But they are very smart and they're very intelligent and they know more than one language. They've traveled, a lot of them have traveled extensively. They are not dumb by any means. They are not dumb. Now, you might meet some that might not went to college or anything, but these women are very ambitious. So you come out here and you get a Japanese girl, these guys get these Japanese women, and then next thing you know, they're married, getting dogged out and crying. My wife, she's a bee, and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, but that's not what you said 10 years ago, or 2 months ago, or last week, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just really interesting, so I'm going to talk about the price of sex. Why would she even say cheap sex? Because then the whole thing is, it's like, okay, fine. Is that what's on your mind? Is it lack of sex? If you want sex, you can go out there and get sex. Anybody can get sex. Just travel to another country where they like black women. And all these other countries do like black women. It's just that the problem, okay, I'm going to cut through the chase, whatever it's called. But anyway, the whole problem is that in every country, like I said in one of my other videos, I don't know, in every country there is this problem that's being created. And the problem is between the men and the women and the way they socialize. And it's the men being taught they have to be the leader. The women are making more money, and everyone think that a leader is someone who has a lot of money. And that's not what a leader is. A leader is a person who guides people out of problems. And just because he might guide you out of one problem doesn't mean that he can guide you out of another problem. Or just because it's the person that's the leader is a woman doesn't mean that if she's on top of a mountain, you on the bottom of the mountain, and she see a bridge and say, come on, I know a way we can get out of here. I mean, what? You say, oh, no, you don't. You know, I'm the man and I know the way. And she see the bridge right there. You know, I mean, it's a bridge right there. Of course, you don't see it. You're not thinking like, well, how do you know? You're not asking her and verifying this to that. You're just challenging her. And that's what's going on. And the country, and all of these countries, like that one woman said, you know, the Brazilian men treat them like crap. I put on my Facebook how on TV, these Japanese women watch CNN, see all the bad things that black men do, and they look to themselves and go, wow, look at them black men, they doing the same thing these Japanese men are doing. And I can say that because I live here and I know what Japanese men are doing, and they're not doing it. Like I told you in all my videos, Japan is what? It's like the hood, no different. Kids hanging out in front of these stores. I mean, all kinds of stuff is going on. And so they look at it and they're like, wow, these black guys are just like these Japanese guys, or these Latino guys, or these guys, and these guys. But yet, or, you know, these Chinese guys doing this, you know, all that stuff. But on seeing these movies, they see all the white guys, and all the white guys are all lovey-dovey and romantic and taking care of the women. And they're seeing this, and they're like jumping on these white guys until they find out that it's all a hype. And then when they find out it's a hype, it's too late because they got kids and stuff, and they probably want to get rid of their husband. They can't, so they cut the sex off, you know, and they start being mean or whatever, you know. And I can say that, or, you know, they could have been mean from the get-go and just being nice to the guy, and, you know, because he's looking for someone to love him instead of loving himself, and then could be any male. You know, he find the first person that's nice to him, and then he fall in love with him. You know, and then that's it. But what it is he's not falling in love with the woman. He's falling in love with the niceness. You know, and then once they fall in love with the niceness, then how can I say that? Then that's what's keeping the man there with the woman, and then she can, bam, grab it and control him. So basically, the video was really good. I liked it because it talked about a lot of stuff that I talk about in a lot of my videos, which means I'm kind of on the same thing. But basically, the whole big problem is that people are not taking responsibility, and that's it. You know, like one of the women, they're talking about it takes a village to raise a kid, and it's not there. But that's not true. It's still there, but no one's not capitalizing on it, you know, taking advantage. And that's why I made this video called "Women Tag Team Your Children." Just because it takes a village to raise a child, but the village doesn't have to always have a man there. But there are men in the villages. There are men who all they got to do is when these kids come over to visit their other friends. Like when my son's kids. Friends come to my house. My son is studying, and I ask them if they want to study, and sometimes they'll say no. So I'll just make them study anyway because they don't. Only one kid gets mad, and I tell him to get out. You know, just go home. And then he don't want to go home, and of course he doesn't want to go home. You know, and then because like one time I told him to get out of my house, and he wouldn't leave, and I'm not, you know, of course I'm not Japanese, so I can't just grab him and toss him out. So I went and got his mother. And his mother's like, please come out the house. And he's like, no. And I'm like, y'all, I'm angry and stuff. Like, get out. What are you doing? Get out. I'm going to call the police then. You know, so he was crying and he left. You know, but he said something disrespecting me, so I kick him out. But, you know, they come to my house. You know, it's not my house in the place where they just sit there and play video games. And my son, he having problems and stuff. You know, I don't want to study and fall asleep in class because, of course, it's probably boring stuff and it's hot, too. You know, so I make him study and he's really improving. You know, his friends, if they study, you know, they say, wow, you know, that's good. I had a good time. You know, so when these kids go over to when these kids are in the house in another black woman's house, and you there with your girlfriend's there and the kids there, and instead of talking about black men, y'all need to be over there studying and making these kids, helping them study. And sure, your kid might talk slack, talk crap, talk back to you like, Mama, I don't want to study. And his mother might say, well, I don't want to study. But then y'all flip it on him, flip the switch, and you talk to your friend's kid and tell him to study, and she tell your son to study, and your son respect that woman, his friend's mother, enough where he's going to say, okay, Miss Jones, whatever, okay, I'm going to get my books, I'm going to start studying. So they got their backpacks with them, and then her son has said to you, yes, Miss Smith, I'm sorry, yes, you're right, I'm going to study, and bam, y'all got control of your kids, and y'all can do that. So it's not like we're at a total loss, because one lady said, like, we're not that far off. It's not that we're not that far off, it's that the priorities are wrong. When a kid come in your house, that's a child. And if they're doing things that are not making them more responsible, then it's your duty as an adult, or at least as a semi-responsible person, to say, hey, that's not what you're supposed to be doing now. You're supposed to be doing this. Now, they want to play the game, and they crying and say, okay, fine, instead of playing the game, I'm going to teach you how to make a game. And then you're teaching them how to make money. And so what I'm saying is that we are being, like I made this other video called Distracted. And basically that's all it is. We're just being distracted, by all this glitter, glamour, whatever stuff, and it's messing with our emotions. And we just need to get in control of our emotions. Everybody says your emotions is your emotions. You listen to your heart and everything. Well, maybe your heart, it might be maybe your brain, because it ain't the one that you beating. That's because you can't. The only thing you're gonna hear is just beats from that. It ain't telling you nothing unless you're gonna start dancing to it. But other than that, you gotta get control of your emotions and see what your emotions. Because basically, I thought about it. I'm like, emotions just a jump start to make your body do something. Your mind think of something, but your mind cannot make the body move. You need that stimulation or that emotional charge, that spark, and then woo, bam, your body get to moving and stuff. And to get control of the body, all you got to do is get control of the emotions. And to get control of the emotions, to make your emotions do things that your brain, to act like the brain, is just put all these trigger words and stuff in your heart or your mind or wherever they put it, and they have these trigger words that gives off these emotional signals. And somebody walk up to you, yo man, you're like, man, who you calling your man? And hey nigga, what's up? Oh, you calling your nigga? And instead of saying, excuse me, do you even know what the word nigga mean? It's meant, if you read this book, Ancient Religions and it just means chosen people, or the first guy who was named Sambo. And then you tell him that, and he's like, oh, you laughing? You just get on your smartphone or whatever you use, an iPhone, whatever, show him a video, and let him watch it, and then let him make his own decision. And then I bet you the next time he'll see you, he'll walk up to you and say, hey, Ralph, or hey, Charles, hey, man, how you doing? How was your day? You have a good day? I'm free. Let's talk about making some business or whatever. It's not going to come off like, yo, nigga, what's up and all of that stuff, And if you didn't even know what the word means, of course, then you can say, yo, Chisholm, what's up and all this stuff, So basically, I'm just saying is that we have a problem. And the problem is so severe that you got these men in all the countries all around the world hating these beautiful women that are right there, hating these perfect women that are perfectly compatible with them, and they going across the seas looking for sex, and they're getting sex from these other women because these other women are not paying any attention to the handsome men that are in their country, who are perfectly capable, who are their perfect, how can you say that? They're perfect mates because of the culture, the language, everything is right there. The only thing is lacking is their understanding of each other and just some knowledge, and way of making some money and stuff like that. And y'all are flip-flopping and crisscrossing and whatever you're doing across the world, and you meeting these women, and what happens? Just good sex. Bam, and then you hooked. Both of y'all hooked. Because why? Because you feel like you're worth something. You just feel like you're worth something. You feel happy. And I was talking to one of my friends. He was in my video called Relaxing in Japan Part 1. And I was telling him how these designer companies and stuff are really smart because they use your emotions to get you to buy their products. And he didn't understand it. And I think later on we talked about it and stuff. But basically this is somebody got smart and started watching TV and programming you. Well, if somebody do this is how you act. Well, that's what Denzel Washington did on this movie. And like, well, that's a movie. You're not Denzel. Man, come on, man. Come on. Somebody say something to you, and you walk up, you don't like it, you're gonna punch him, and now you're sitting here in jail, for attempted robbery or whatever. Well, that's my pride. Yeah, okay. Well, you sit behind them bars with all your pride and think about it, because I don't have time for that stuff. So, man, I'm talking too much. So basically, what I'm saying is, we have a problem in the States, and the problem in the States is the same problem that all these other people in all these other countries are facing. White men in their countries, in their homes, in their own houses, their kids hating them. You hating your father. Your father, my father wasn't around all the time, but I still love him as though if he was always there. And I got to spend about 6 months with him before I moved to LA. And that 6 months, he taught me a lot. And it was enough to carry me. And it wasn't like how to treat women and all of that stuff. He don't have to teach me how to treat women. When I meet a woman, she say, "Hey, this is how I want to be treated." And if I want to do it like that, fine. If I don't, then I'll move on to find some other woman who want to be treated the way I want to treat them. But your father teaches you how to be a man. And being a man is just being responsible. You don't just, somebody give you some candy, you just open it up and pop it in your mouth. Like somebody said the other day, one of my friends, well, I know this girl or something, I like chocolate, I don't look at the feelings, I just pop it in my mouth. I'm like, well, shoot, I'll open it up and see what's in there, because you end up doing that. So I used to do that sometimes, just pop some candy in my mouth and it'd be coffee taste. Yeah, like what? And stop and then read it. And like, oh my God, why didn't I read the instructions? So we got these problems and stuff. But these problems are easily solved and stuff. And the women in America or whatever, they looking for some guys and they looking for somebody, like the guy said, you can't put these intangible things, these concrete things, you can't, these intangible things, I think he said, you can't put price tags on them. You can't put price tag on a husband, and it's funny too, because, how many women actually who are more educated than their husbands, and they're married to them, actually kept the books that they read from their schools, or do they have a collection, do they have a library at the house? And when they're bored, instead of saying, well, I'm gonna go play some cards with my friends, I'm gonna go to sleep, when you're bored, say, hey honey, I know you're doing this work. I want to know about it. Hey, teach me. Let's go get a book on this. So look on the computer. You show me. Or you might say, hey, honey, I'm a lawyer and everything, but did you know that when they take the bar, they do the test, it's an open book test, And when I found it, my friend Too Tricky, he told me, he said, yeah, when you go for the bar, it's an open book test. I'm like, huh? What? Oh my God. And then I think about it, somebody else was saying something like that too when I was back in LA, something like that. I think the person that told me said when they practiced it was an open book. But he said when you take the real test, it's an open book test, unless I misheard him. It's an open book test. So I'm like, wow, it's an open book test and people still don't pass. I'm like, oh man, that's some real bad studying habits right there. So basically I'm just saying is that the problem that we have is solvable. But to fix those problems, We all just have to become responsible. And that's it. Just a little bit of responsibility in the right place is going to do a lot. And then what make it so bad, or I should say so perfect, is people are like animals. If you're not constantly dynamically changing your mind and doing this and that, once you start doing one thing, you're going to get used to it, and you keep doing it, and that's all you're going to do. So if you get up in the morning and you cook breakfast for your wife and your kids, then that's fine if you do it every morning. And then you go to work one day and you're like, you know what, man? You're like, oh yeah, man, I had some good breakfast there. Wow, I ate this, I ate that. Wow, your wife cooked that? No, I cooked for the family. What? Man, shoot. My wife, she better get her blah, blah, blah up and cook dinner, have my dinner ready. I'm the man in the house. And she making more money or not making more money, I don't care. She's supposed to cook for me, so when I wake up, I want my breakfast done. You are not a man. You better make her cook your breakfast. And of course, if you're a fool, you're going to go home and ruin your perfect time of getting to know thyself. Because when you cook, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful time. You get to use your imagination, you get the things, you get to express yourself, and that extra stress that people have that they can't get rid of through sex, through playing basketball, through dancing. You might need to do other types of things, like thinking, like cooking, like creating. And that stuff too gets rid of, you use energy, and it gets rid of it. And a lot of the stress that we have, you have it because you're not doing the things that would get rid of that kind of stress that you have. So then instead of you then next morning you get up, let me go cook my dinner. I'm the man in the house and blah, 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 blah. And your kids tripping like, damn, what's wrong with Dad? Dad, your breakfast was good. My wife was like, yeah, I mean, I don't mind cooking, but, I'm a terrible cook. And I don't care how good, you better get a book and all that. And then bam, your whole family all messed up and stuff. And then one day you sitting in the bar all broken down. It's, your wife gone, kids gone. They married to some white man who's a chef and he loves to cook. And he ain't listening to no dumb niggas out there in the street, and they ain't listening to no dumb white guys in the street either. Because he ain't telling them their business, because white people usually don't share what they doing anyway. And from the ones I know, anyway, they don't even talk to each other on the streets. We the only ones that talk to each other. Another country, another black man, yo, what's up? Don't matter what, yo, what's up, my brother? What's up, my brother? And all people of color talk to us. They from Pakistan, India, whatever. Look at us, Indonesia, whatever, and they see us and they, yo, brother, what's up, brother, what's up, brother? White people are the only ones who don't talk to each other that I notice in the streets. Now that when they see us, they might say hi, or when they get lonely and they see a brother, they say hi. But not too many of them get lonely, see a white guy and get lonely and say hi. I haven't seen that, but then of course I'm not a white guy, so I wouldn't know. But from what I see, no, I don't think it really happens that much. But I could be wrong, But what I'm saying is, you get these brothers out there, and you got these other brothers out there that are poison, and you have to be responsible and control your emotions, because the minute a guy says, hey, I ain't gonna cook no breakfast because I'm the man in the house and my wife better and you stupid for cooking, then you turn around and look at him, and of course if you're responsible and you read, you can go and practice that martial arts and stuff, you'll get good. You pop that dude in his mouth, knock him to the ground, and go, listen, don't you ever, 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 ever tell me how I am or whatever. If I want you the man of your house, fine. You stay being the man of your house. But don't tell me I'm not the man in the house. I'm not the man in the house. We don't need no man in the house. We got responsibilities in the house. And a man cannot always be responsible for everything, because he can't always be in one place at the one time. And he can't do all of this stuff. Okay? My kids are responsible with money. And you start breaking down, telling, oh man, you didn't have to hit me. Like, I know I did have to hit you. Because if I told you this, you ain't gonna listen anyway. So I'm popping in your mouth, and then if y'all out there duking it out, because I used to You know, sometimes you get in fights, and motherfuckers talking about they want to fight. While we fighting, I'm talking to them. You know, I'm talking to them. You know, talking that knowledge. Yeah, you know, this and that. Pop. Oh, you hit me in the mouth. Yeah, but that's force. You know. You know, but your hands are hard. No, it's not my hands. It's the force that was generated from my muscles, from this and that, and then you break it down to them, and that's why you get hurt. You know, and then you swing. Why are you moving so fast? Well, because your force, the velocity of your force is so dang slow. I don't know. I'm just tripping this up. But what I'm saying is a lot of good men let these bad guys break them down and stuff, you know. And I'll tell you, they say love is more powerful than evil. Well, that might be true. But intelligence will erase ignorance on the spot. Right on the spot. And if you are intelligent, you get out there and you're like, well, I'm intelligent, you can't talk to these knuckleheads because you don't have the intelligence to talk to them. And I said, let somebody else talk to them. You know, and basically I'm just running off at the mouth right now. But like I said in all my other videos, you know, our problem really isn't that big. You know, if you got these women out there, you know, you're just gonna have to sit down. Don't think about sex, and you really are just going to have to talk to these black women, these sisters, these African American women, or whoever your women are, wherever you are in your country. You're going to have to sit down and you're going to have to talk to them and see what's on their minds. And you got to talk and they got to say, and you guys got to say, hey, wait a minute, what is it that you want? You know, because if it's so far about making money, then how you make your money, baby? You know, because I'm a doctor. Okay, then can you teach me all of this stuff? Well, I can't teach you everything, but I can teach you what I know. Okay, fine. You know, and because I'm sure, I mean, I've heard that there's a lot of shortcuts to get to, you know, what you want to do. You know, it's a lot of shortcuts and stuff, you know. And you'd be surprised with some people just study. They might need on-hand training, but if you can pass a test, you know, you do well, you know, they will come to you. They will come to you. So anyway, I gotta go to work, but man, I got a lot more to say. But anyway, I think I said enough. But that video was pretty good. I'll put it in my descriptions anyway. And hopefully, when you're watching this, some pictures up too, because I didn't hold my phone. But anyway, I'm out. Peace.